Okay, so first thing that we want to do is get rid of this cube. So you'll hit X to delete that, and then go ahead and hide the camera and the light. Then we're going to go to Add Text. And we want to rotate this so that the text is standing. So you can use the rotate tool, or you can come to rotation here on the X axis and change that to 90. Okay, so now to edit your text, you'll go into edit mode. And then type in whatever word you would like. Okay, so after you have your word, you want to go back and enter a space in between all of your letters. Since we're going to be making them like a balloon, we just want to have room so that they're not squished together. Okay, so now we want to make our font thicker, because if you kind of turn it, you can see that it's like paper thin. So what you're going to do is go down to this little A and come down to where it has geometry. And you're going to change this extrude to 0.075 and hit enter. Then you should be able to see now it's much thicker. Okay, so now make sure that you have like your frontal view on. I'm going to zoom in here. And what we're going to do is kind of bevel out these edges. So still in our data panel here. Okay, so under geometry, you'll see where it says bevel. Make sure that is dropped down. And it should be on round. And we're going to adjust this here. I mean, if you want, you can use a little scrolly thing, but let's see. So you don't want to go like too terribly thick, but it just kind of depends on what word you chose. And for example, I have an A and I want to be able to still see the inside of my A. So if I go up much further, it's kind of gonna go away. If you don't have an A or any other letters that have an enclosed space, you can make them a little thicker, or the bevel a little thicker. So that's just kind of your personal preference there. So I'm gonna do 0.04. Okay, so now we're gonna go back into object mode. And we want to make this into a mesh. So if you right click and select convert to, you'll select mesh. Okay, so now we're going to go to the modifiers tab. Click on add modifier, and you want to find the one that says remesh. And then you're just going to lower this until it kind of starts looking back how you had it. Okay, and that's just going to kind of make it a little smoother than it was before when we try to edit it. So once you're happy with that, you want to apply your modifier. So you'll click on this little arrow and then click on apply. Okay, so we go back into edit mode, and if you zoom in, it should look something like this. So if it looks like that, you can go ahead and go back into object mode. The next thing we're going to do is add physics to our text. So you'll come down here to select this. You want to make sure that you save frequently while doing this, because sometimes you know, computers can be, can start lagging and freezing, and you don't want to lose all your hard work. So make sure to do that frequently. Okay, so go ahead and select the cloth option. Um, and lift up your timeline a little bit here. If you go ahead and click play, you'll notice that your balloon letters are slowly falling. So if you come all the way down and show your field weights, you'll see gravity here. If you were to turn this all the way down, it wouldn't move, but we're going to leave it on for now and just make some other adjustments so that our balloon letters do float. Okay, before we start editing this, we need to make a base for our letters. So we're going to go ahead and select Add Mesh Plane. And you can see it right over here. So now we want to scale that. And you can just start scaling it one way and then grab your text and you want to move that over. Until it fits on there all the way. Make it a little bit bigger. Then you also want to make sure that your letters are not falling, sorry, but are completely on top of the base. Right now you can see a little of mine are underneath it, so I need to move those up. Just going to move this over a little bit. Okay, so now that you have that, you can see if we press play again, that our text starts to fall. And I think my text maybe is a little too high, and you can see that it's still going straight through the plane here. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to make that go back. And first I'm going to zoom in and maybe move this down a little bit more. Okay. Oh, that did anything different. So what we need to do is make sure you have your plane selected. Okay. And we want to click on collision. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out. And you'll notice now if I press play again, it's not going through anymore, but it is like kind of destroying it. So go ahead and stop that. Okay, so if you have this done, go ahead and save your progress here. You can do that quickly by hitting Control S on your keyboard, or you can do it here. Okay, so what we want to do real quickly is select our text and go into the render panel here and select cycles. So it's going to help us when we do our lighting and things like that. Okay, so now we can go back into the physics and click on we have our cloth. We're going to come down and edit our cloth modifier for now. Okay, so we're going to go down to where it says pressure. Make sure that it's checked in. And then just go ahead and put 1000 there. I'm going to save my progress. I'm going to press play. And you'll see that my text is now inflating. But then it starts moving down again because of the gravity. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I'm going to go down to gravity and make it 0. And I'll press play again. You can see now it's starting to float up slowly but surely. Okay, back to 0. Okay, so now what we're going to do is move our playhead to 100. Scroll back up to the pressure and just hover over your pressure and select I on your keyboard. And what that did is created a keyframe right here on the 100th frame. Then we're going to go down to our gravity, hover over that again, and press I. Okay, it didn't work. I don't think. Didn't turn yellow. Okay, I'm hovering over that and I'm going to press I on my keyboard, and it just added also that modifier to the keyframe. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make it to where our text is deflated and then will inflate. So we're going to go to frame 40 and we're going to come over to our pressure and set that to 10 and hover over it and press I on your keyboard to make your keyframe there. And then you want to come down to the gravity and put it back at 1. Hover over it and press I to add that to the keyframe. Now what you need to do is come and move this over so you can see the summary, and you can see here how you have the pressure, clock settings, and then the gravity effects. So I'll go ahead and play it so you can kind of see. So I'm just letting you know this is taking forever, so that I'm probably going to speed it up in the video so you can hurry up and see, but yeah, this is way too slow. I'm just going to go ahead and pause this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select our gravity keyframe, which is down here, and we're going to move this forward to kind of like right above the 60, and then select your keyframes here on 100 and go ahead and move those down to 80-ish. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so I'm liking that better. My letters look nice, I think. Once you have that, make sure you save your progress. Okay, so one reason this is taking so long to play here to like show us what is happening is because Blender is just, you know, weird and is trying to think about everything that it has to do at the same time. So what we're going to do is make the animation so that it will run smoother and faster. So what you want to do first is change your ending frame, and let's go ahead and just set it at 160. Then we want to go over here to our cache and also change the ending here to 160. Go ahead and make sure you save your progress so far. The next thing that we're going to do is click on bake. This can take a while, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. Okay, so mine just finished. It didn't take as long as I thought. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here and unselect this so that you can see everything, and you'll definitely notice that it plays a lot faster now. Okay, so here should be something like that. Okay, now what we want to do is kind of make a background for our animation. So we're going to go into edit mode. Go ahead and, okay, sorry, go back to object mode. Select your plane and then go into edit mode. And I'm going to rotate this over. And I'm going to select the edge select. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out here and I want to select this back edge. And you're going to select E. This little cursor should pop up. You can start dragging it up and then press Z on your keyboard and it'll bring it straight up instead of backwards. And then when you kind of get it what you think might be tall enough, you can do that there. Okay, so you can see it kind of has this, well, it has a sharp line here. So go ahead and select that line. And we're going to kind of bevel that out. And as we do that, you can see that it's at an angle. So you can go ahead and start scrolling with your well, not your keyboard, scrolling with your little scrolly thing on your mouse to make it more curved. And the more you put in there, the smoother it will become. Okay. Now we'll go look at this in object mode, and you can see that some of the lines are still there. So we're just going to right click on our background and click shade smooth, and that smoothed that out there. Then as we come here, you can see that our letters are kind of falling off of the background. So we're going to have that selected and go ahead and scale that out so that they fit into the space there. Okay, so now that you have that, we're going to add our camera. Now, if we were to unhide this one, the camera is way over here, and then you're going to have to move it, and that just takes forever, and I really don't like doing that. So I'm just going to delete this camera for now, or just permanently. And then we're going to go to add camera, and you'll see here that this camera gets added right here in the center. It's not in the right space yet, but it is a lot easier than having to move it from there to there. So what we're going to do is go into the animation tab, and let's adjust our view. Okay, so click on this panel and you can press 0 on your keyboard. So now we are going to start adjusting our camera. Okay, so first I'm going to move it along my y-axis to scoot it back. So okay, so for some reason, when I'm moving my camera, it's moving my plane with it. So for now, I'm just hiding the plane because I have no idea why it's doing that. And now I'm going to select G and then Y on my keyboard to move this along. And I'm going to go ahead and scoot it back enough so it's hopefully not in the plane. And then I can turn my plane back on. And then I can continue adjusting my camera. it up along the z-axis. So I moved it up a little bit, and now I need to move it way back again. Along the y-axis. And back up on the z-axis. Text floating up so that you do want to have some room at the top to see that. I think mine's a little too zoomed out. It seems like my letters are off centered, so I kind of want to edit that. So I'm going to zoom in here and maybe scoot those over a little bit. Okay, so once you have your camera set up the way you want, we're going to go ahead and go back into, oh, I already went back into layout, sorry. So back into layout mode. Next, we're going to set up our lights. If you want, you can go ahead and remove this default light that was there and go to add light and click on area light. And this is basically just how you think you might want to light up your scene. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my stupid plane again because it keeps moving it. Okay. So first I'm going to move it up and then just kind of get it out of the way here. Remember too that when you're messing with the light, you want to click on this little light bulb here and, go ahead and mess with the settings. You're going to need, more power and things like that. Before I start moving my light around, I'm going to go ahead and change my power to 1000. And then I'm going to move where I have one light on this side and then one light on this side. Once you have a light kind of the way you want it, you can always duplicate that light. And I can't remember. Okay, so to duplicate the light, you hold down Shift and D on your keyboard to make a duplicate. Drag it to the other side. And then we're going to rotate that the other direction. Okay, so before we edit any more of the lights, we want to go ahead and put the color material onto our text. So go ahead and go into the viewport shading mode. This would also be a good time to kind of save your work. Okay. Okay, so material way down here, you can barely see it. Anyway, okay. Got my materials. Let's go ahead and select our background first and select new material. And you can change the color of your background to whatever you would like to. Now you can select your text and create a new material there and figure out what color that you want to use for your balloons. Okay, so another thing you can do is go into the viewport shading to see kind of what it looks like with the lights that we currently have. And see if you're okay with that. I'm fine with mine. So I'm going to go back. Okay, so you want to come to a point in your timeline where your balloons are completely blown up. You can go back into this render view here and then can right click on the letters and click Shade Smooth to smooth that out. The next thing I want to do is add some shininess to our balloons. So go back to your material panel here and find the roughness right here. And you want to bring that down pretty low, about 0.14-ish something, to make them shinier. So if you put it here into the render viewpoint, this is going to be close to what it will actually look like. So I'm going to go and again adjust some of my lighting. So we're gonna go ahead and try to render it and see what happens, and hopefully it doesn't look all fuzzy like this, okay? Okay, so one thing that you can do is just render an image. So this is the image that I rendered. I was worried about all the noise that you can see here. You can see that it did come out nicely and pretty clear. And so what I did, if you want to render an image just to have, you don't have to do this part. If not, you can skip ahead to render to the animation, but you'll go to the render panel here and you will come down to where it has sampling, and then so you'll have the sampling, then you want to look at the render and you want to put max sample at 150 and make sure that denoise is checked. Then if you wanted to render the image, then of course you would go to render image, and then it would save that there. So after it renders, then you would go to image and then save as after it's done rendering. Okay. So now I will show you how to do the render animation settings.
So one thing that you can do is you could, get a good look of kind of what this looks like. And if you change it to the evening mode, it does look a whole lot clearer right now. It does look a little more maybe fake plasticky than the cycles, but it does render a whole lot faster. So if you're looking for a faster render and you don't mind it looking like this, then you can go ahead and do that. And you would just set it at Eevee and then have your start frame to your end frame at 160, and then you would need to go and change this file format to FFmpeg video, and you would need to find or save it where you want to save it, give it a title. Okay, so I already rendered mine, so I'm not going to go through all this. So once you give it a title, you would go to render and render animation, and it's pretty quick doing it that way.